Good morning, beloveds. It's Sunday. It is also 9/11, which is a day, well, it's been 21 years, and yeah, it's now been long enough that it kind of creeps up on us, but anytime you see that date, you kind of stop and you think. And Reverend David Bruner asks a question every day, and he asks the question of, today, where were you? And that's the one thing I think of every year on the anniversary of 9/11 is, where was I? Because I was at home. My husband had worked overnight, and so he was on his way home, and I was at home, and I had gotten up early, and I'd done yoga, and I turned off yoga, and for whatever reason, the channel was the Bloomberg channel, which is in New York, and when I turned it off, I could see the shaking, because the first plane had already hit one of the towers, and my mother was on an airplane that day. She was not going to New York. She was not going to Pennsylvania. She was actually headed from San Antonio to Florida, and she got grounded in Atlanta. And that was the weirdest thing, is because at the time I was working on a flight line, meaning where I worked, we watched planes take off, and because I worked near Bush Intercontinental Airport, and so we would watch, and for 2 days the sky was silent, and it was weird. And that's where we are, It's been 20 years. Have we forgotten? No. Will we ever forget? No. But it's a scar now. And we're not speaking from a bleeding wound, but we're speaking from a scar. So, yeah, I didn't want to not acknowledge that it was September 11th. So let's get on with this. Okay. As I said, it is September 11th. Our title is Types of Wording in Treatment. Our first quote is, "Blessed are they that keep their testimonies and that seek them with whole heart." Oh, hang on. I bet, blessed are they that keep Spirit's testimonies and that seek Spirit with the whole heart. Psalm 119:2. The word which carries power is the one which has conviction back of it. Let us not blithely repeat words. Science of Mind 176. We should accept the idea that in spiritual mind treatment for healing a definite situation, there must be an element of specific intention. Let us consider some of the forms this may take. It may take the form of an actual command. We have the right to say to disharmony, "Begone. I no longer accept you." Or it may take the form of this strong statement of denial: "There is no disharmony in God. There is no disharmony between me and any other person of God's creation." Or we may affirm, "All inharmonious conditions are now dissolved as I accept only God's right action through my affairs." We may prefer not to consider the detail of our problems once we begin treatment. We may find that we work best by losing ourselves in the consciousness of the good we desire to achieve, rather than to dwell overmuch upon the thing we wish to be rid of. Or we may actually say, the intention of this treatment is that the disharmony may be removed from my relationship with, name the person, and then forget whatsoever is wrong, becoming conscious of all that is right by the recognition of the presence of God and by personal unification with that presence. I now turn to the presence within me and acknowledge its actions in this situation confronting me. God's love sustains me as well as the other person, guiding us into the perfect harmony and peace. There is no obstacle it cannot surmount, and I let it banish all discord from this experience right now. And that's C.C. Craig Carter. All right, so I'm going to go back to the Science of Mind quote. Words which carries power is the word which carries power is the one that has the conviction back of it. Let us not blithely repeat words. So, what Craig is doing is giving you an illustration. There's a couple of different ways to do that. And in Science of Mind, you can have 5 steps to treatment, or you can have 7 steps of treatment. For a brief period of time in our history, we were 2 branches of Science of Mind. One used 5, one used 7. I was trained in the 5, but I also knew about the 7. And Craig kind of is illustrating the 2 steps that I wasn't necessarily trained in. Unification, or recognition, recognizing that there's one power. Unification, recognizing that we are part of that power, unifying our consciousness with that power. And it's really recognizing the unification. We're not really unifying with it because we're not separate from it, but it's recognizing that unification. And then realization, okay? Realization is where we state what it is that we are doing the treatment about, what it is that we want. And we are encouraged to be fairly specific in what we want. It's not the how, but what. Now, the other 2 steps, and this is kind of where Craig was touching on today, is denial and reaffirmation. Okay? So, and that's why he was saying, hang on, let me grab it, because he was talking about inharmonious. Begone, I no longer accept you. Or there is no disharmony in God. That's a denial. There is no disharmony in God. There's no disharmony between me or any other person. That's a denial. And then and then they would follow that up with a reaffirmation of, that all is harmonious, all is peaceful, all is whatever it is that we're working on, healed. Because it sounds like he's working on relationships specifically there. That in the presence of God, which there's nowhere present, that God is not present, all is harmonious. So denials can be very powerful parts of affirmations. And so don't be afraid to use them. Emma loves denials. If you are a student of Emma Curtis Hopkins, she absolutely adores denials, uses them a lot, which is where I learned about them. I learned them from Emma because, like I said, I was trained in the 5 steps, not the 7. And I love them and I use them. Now, the other thing, I'm gonna go back to that Science of Mind quote about conviction. When we simply mouth words, when we simply speak the words, and there is no emotion behind them, because that's what we talk about treatments. They are thought wrapped in feeling. So the power is in that feeling wrapped in that thought. And so when I say, feel free to use these words, any of these words, any of the words that any minister or practitioner uses, but if they don't carry that emotional weight, change the word. Because as the Science of Mind text says, words repeated blithely are not going to do you any good. You want that power behind them. You want that emotion behind them, that feeling. So change the words if the words don't mean anything to you. Now, that being said, there is an argument for repeating words, and I'm going to use the word blithely, if you are doing them in meditation, okay? Mantras and affirmations and all of that, because what that is, when you are repeating those words, and they don't necessarily have to have a whole lot of power behind them, conviction behind them, because what you are using them to do is to create a state of mind. The rosary would be an excellent example, because if I repeat the rosary without listening to the words, there's something about the cadence and all of that that creates that meditative state of mind that can calm the monkey mind. So that is different. All right. Repeating words to create a meditative state of mind is one thing, but you don't want to create necessarily a meditative state of mind when you're doing treatment. That's where you want that feeling, that emotion, that power, because you are impressing on the law that this is what you want. Okay? So types of words in treatment matter, and choose words that invoke feeling in you, and you will be far more successful. And he gives you great examples in this reading. And then his little affirmation at the end. Now I turn to the presence within me and acknowledge its actions in the situation confronting me. God's love sustains me as well as the other person, guiding us into perfect harmony and peace. So if you're doing a treatment about your relationship with someone else, of course God is guiding both of you. And in your treatment, you're acknowledging that. And so you're acknowledging that you're finding the common ground in spirit. There is no obstacle it cannot surmount, and I let it banish all discord from this experience right now. And so if those words speak to you and you can put that feeling and conviction behind them, great, more power to you. And if you, and if one of those words doesn't work for you, or all of them, feel free to rewrite them. So we should accept, he's shitting on us. We accept the idea that the spiritual mind treatment for healing, that in spiritual mind treatment for a definite situation, there must be an element of specific intention. So that's what he's doing in this reading, is teaching us, words matter, and types of words matter, and use words that mean something to you. When practitioners treat for you, they use words that that mean something to them because they are treating themselves about you. When you are treating for yourself, that may be why it's hard for practitioners to write a treatment for you to give, because the words that mean something to them may not have the same power with you. So if a practitioner gives you a treatment that for you to do yourselves, feel free to change the words until they mean something to you, to invoke that power in you. All right. So this one doesn't lend itself to a mission today, does it? But words matter. And so I would say, if we're going to have if we're going to have a mission, hang on, the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to look for words that evoke feeling that we use in our treatments, especially when we are doing it for specific situations. And don't be afraid of a denial. Okay? Feel free to use the denial, because sometimes the power of that no is all the power you need. So, the mission, should you choose to accept it, is to find those words that invoke your power, your words, your power. And then you will move into writing really powerful treatment, because words matter. Words absolutely matter. I happen to love the subject of English, and so words matter. They do. All right. So that's the mission today, should you choose to accept it. Like I said, don't be afraid of denials. And one of the best things about denials is to immediately follow them up with an affirmation. That when we teach the 7 steps, that's exactly how we do it. So, there's that. Now I'm going to, remind you to do the spiritual practice of doing something loving for yourself, doing something kind for yourself, doing something compassionate for yourself, whatever that looks like, big, small, doesn't matter. Point is, it is about self-care, but it's also about joy and happiness and enjoying life and making sure that you're taking time out to do that. Sunday's a great day to remind you, you get to enjoy life. That is part of the reason you are here. We might have a lot of reasons to be here. We might have a lot of purposes, but one of them is to enjoy life. It's to have experiences and to enjoy at least some of them, if not all of them, because, I get it. Life's messy. It's September 11th. Life is messy. And today would be a good day to make sure that you're being a little extra gentle with yourself, and with others, and when you practice love, kindness, and compassion on yourself, then you create a bank of it so that you have extra for others. So yeah, it's super important. So take that walk, take that nap, enjoy that cake, or that cup of coffee. Enjoy the time with your friends and your family. You know, make it a point to enjoy some of life. I still can't read the comments. Yes, yes. Enjoy today, because today really is the present. But make plans to enjoy tomorrow too. Yes, Michael. All right. All right. And then the other things, make sure you do something to engage your mind and your body, unless it is your day of rest. We all need to take a day of rest, and let that body rest. And then, drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. You think better when you're hydrated. Get that early in your day bright light. There were no clouds in the sky today, so the change in the color of the sun trying to come up was really interesting, because we were at the gym before the sun came up, and so it was really interesting. And it's beautiful. And so early morning light, it resets all those circadian rhythms, and it's super important to your mental and physical health. So take care of yourself in that way. Early in your day, bright light. And then open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven right here, right now. I've started calling it a superpower, because it really is. Happiness is an inside job. Heaven is an inside job, because it's a state of mind and it's the state of consciousness, which means we go within, we commune with the source of our own being, and then we can take that out and create heaven around us. And when we can do that, we get to share our heaven with other people. And that's what I mean by it being a superpower. It really is. It's an inside out job. So, and that's where I'm always leaning on Emma to take Emma's advice. Look for the good and praise it. If you're having an awful day, the first, easiest, and best way to turn that around is to find something good and be grateful for it and be happy about it. You know, even if it's just a little thing. Frankly, I think starting with the little things is the best, because it's the easiest. It's the easiest. And then they add up into the big good. So, yep, heaven's around us because we create it. Superpower. All right, we are extraordinary beings having extraordinary lives, and that's one of the things that we get to do. So, all right, here's where I do the social media thing. Follow us on the social medias, like us on the social medias, share us on the social medias. We've upped our TikTok game pretty much. So we are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark on the social medias we are on. I'm the Running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. I started cross-posting this video to the Running Rev Ryan just so that there's something on that page. They just don't get the title and all of that. So they're like, why is she on here talking? Yeah. But, I'm learning. And I know, here's where I'm going, because occasionally I'll have those days where I just don't want to do the have a great day. But you know what? Yes, it is September 11th, but it's a scar now. We're not talking from a wound. So we can have a great day, an amazing day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, an amazing day, a magical day, an enchanting day. We can have a day of remembrance. We can have a day where we take that time to step back and be gentle with ourselves and a reminder of what happened, because when we remember that, we will never let it happen again. So we can also have a good day, or if that is too much pressure, simply we can have a day. All right. And that's good too. I'm not even going to say it's okay. That is good too, because we are enough just as we are. We are beloved children of God, in whom God is well pleased and well represented. And sometimes we forget that, we represent the God that we believe in. Are we doing a good job? So, and how we take days like this, that shows you the kind of God we believe in. So, all right. That's kind of a weird note to end on. So, the cool thing is, because it is Sunday, we will have an amazing service for you, which will be on Facebook Live at 11, and then it'll be up on YouTube later in the day, and which means I need to go eat something. And Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you, and I'll be back with you at 9 a.m. I'll just give you a heads up. This week's going to be a little weird. On Wednesday, I'm having my other eye done, so I probably won't do this at all. I'm going from legally blind in both eyes to having distance vision in both eyes, but I'm giving up my near vision, so I don't know how I'm going to do this until we figure that out. So if you don't see me for a couple of days, I will catch up, I promise. But there's plenty of stuff, from 3 years now, on the Running Rev Ryan YouTube. So if you want to if you want to keep on a day, you can always go back and watch those, and see what I was talking about in 2020 and 2021. All right. Whatever else know that you are loved always. And I will see you next time.